Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a Coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Smith Tools and Purchase, Level Plain Poem, Vitaly Z, Colton James, BG, Survive the Spin, FE Patriot, Thomas van der Zander, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Sea Level Cultist, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Names Burley, Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Flat Earth Revolter, JMels24, Unamento, Iron26, Endless, Golden McKinnon, Retro Bill, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Young Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand across to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show. I have got a video to react to, and if anybody does happen to join us, then wonderful. The link has been sent out on MasterB, which is now in Teams rather than Skype, and indeed I will join the MasterB server, so anybody wants to join after the fact can see that server and join it for future live streams. If you did want to join me and you are a member, that's the way to join, via the Discord server, and indeed if you've seen the link go through on Skype, you can join that way. Now, what we're covering is somebody that I kept on mentioning in yesterday's stream when we were covering Dr. G and his representation or misrepresentation of his bias towards the moon landing and his assumptions that it automatically is real, and therefore any deception that he detects in the behaviour of people like Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin — he didn't get to Michael Collins in my reaction at least, although he did mention him — are because of the stress and woes of travelling to the moon. In other words, what they're actually talking about isn't considered as being a lie, even though they're being deceptive in everything about their delivery. Now, while I was going through that, one of the people that I did specifically mention as being preferable, let's say, to the behavioural panel, and in that instance Dr. G, was this particular dude. So this is the Deception Detective, and I really like the Deception Detective. I was introduced to him by Brian's Logic, who got there a couple of weeks before I did, when he introduced me via Skype, as it was then and is now Teams, and said, look, check out this guy, he's great. And back then, he had maybe 10,000 subscribers or less. He wasn't a very big channel, and explained that he'd had a break from YouTube, come back, and was now covering various different things within YouTube. Criminology, I think, is what you'd call it, the subcategory of YouTube that he's covering stuff in. So this is Deception Detective, and I cannot recommend him enough. He is excellent. So if I can, I'll go into the YouTube live stream chat. Hello, Crockett, and just pop that link in there. Put my live stream chat up on the screen so people can see that I have actually done this. So as is always the case, although there is going to be a limited number of people in my actual live stream while I'm doing it live, if you're watching this after the fact, because I will publish this video, albeit very short, as a separate video, so that you can toddle along to Deception Detective to let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that basically alludes to the fact that we've covered his video. And yeah, I like Deception Detective. So in spite of typically sending people along to our opponents, in this instance I wouldn't call Deception Detective an opponent particularly. He just covers some interesting subjects and exposes people's bias, which I really, really like. So in any event, there you go. There's a link to Deception Detective going by in my members only live stream chat. If you are watching this, as I say, after the fact on the Uncut and After Show, as I'm going to label it, then please do the same. I'll ask or invite one of my moderators who's in the premiering stream chat to actually do the same and publish a link to Deception Detective, this specific video. You'll see why in a minute, so that you can allude to the fact that we've covered his video, albeit very, very briefly. So this isn't going to be a very long video today, because the bit that's of interest to us isn't necessarily the entirety of the video. In fact, it's only a tiny little section of the video that gets played twice, once on the intro and once as he starts getting into the thick of this Jeffrey Epstein unpacking. Now, I have no particular interest in the subject that's being covered in this instance. I don't even know who the person they're talking about is, but somebody took their own life after being part of the Epstein nonsense. And as a tormented soul, that's kind of what's the reasoning behind it, according to Deception Detective and some of the people on the panel. There's also somebody who is staunchly against this particular individual who has taken their own life, and that particular person is this woman who was a staunch advocate of the person who they'll be talking about in a moment. However, the person I want you to pay attention to is this person, who, again, I don't know who she is. I don't care. All I care about is what she says, and we're going to get into it now, and you'll see exactly why I want you to pay attention to this particular clip, given what we were covering yesterday.
You sit with Virginia Giuffre in totality here.
Yeah, I believe her when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein. But to this new theory, Piers, that your guest is promulgating, and the moon landing was staged and the Hunter Biden laptop is a fake. Come on. That photo had to be examined by newsrooms and lawyers up and down before it would ever be published.
That's the panel on Piers Morgan Uncensored, debating the suspicious death of Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew's most famous accuser. And while I think that predators like Prince Andrew and bullies like Lady Victoria Harvey, who's on the panel...
So Lady Victoria Harvey, I think, is the one that I pointed out first, who is a detractor of this person who's until now remained almost unnamed, because we don't know who this person is that's taken their own life at this stage of this particular discussion by Deception Detective, because he hasn't named the person either. Now, they will get named repeatedly. I just can't remember who it was, because it wasn't necessarily my focus. I was only focused on the moon landing hoax alongside Biden's briefcase, or whatever the hell the other thing was, got mentioned, and it never comes up again. Now, as I say, I've put a link to Deception Detective in the live stream chat, and I encourage you to go into the premiering stream chat when this goes out at the normal time, or my normal live stream time. But I want you to actually ask him, or allude to the fact, why didn't this even get a mention? You know, she's talking about, you know, equally it could be that you're asking him why Biden's briefcase doesn't get a mention. But in this instance, she specifically says that the moon landing stage, now I know that space is not a vacuum, right? The area above our head we call the sky is not a 10 to the minus 17 torr second law of thermodynamics violating vacuum. Therefore, there was no journey via this said to be vacuum sky that they said they travelled through to get to the moon. Ergo, they must be lying. It can only be staged. But the fact that this is being tolerated on Piers Morgan's show while they discuss something completely ancillary to it is beyond me. I don't really understand, hence me making a video about it, in spite of the fact that I'm in a tremendous amount of pain with toothache. Okay, well, I'm not exactly sure what's happened here, because this video now doesn't seem to want to play. Okay. Now it's gone black. Very interesting. Okay, let's see if anybody's in the Discord server while this video tries to figure itself out. Let's refresh it. Oh, it's just an ad wanting to play. Fair enough.
Are you managing your money with Revolut?
Where do you sit with Virginia Giuffre in totality here?
Yeah, I believe her when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein. But to this new theory, Piers, that your guest is promulgating, and the moon landing was staged and the Hunter Biden laptop is a fake. Come on. That photo had to be examined by newsrooms and...
Maybe there's some context I'm missing in terms of how she's saying it, like she's juxtaposing it like that's ludicrous. And I'm just missing that subtlety because I don't know the current events and current affairs that they're discussing and how it would sit in that sort of subtle subcontext of sarcasm, or I don't know. I just, like I say, I don't really understand how that can just get dropped into this discussion without any mention of it.
And lawyers up and down before it would ever be published.
That's the panel on Piers Morgan Uncensored, debating the suspicious death of I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For early access, exclusive videos, and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. If you're not aware, this is my third video analyzing this episode of Piers Morgan, and so far we haven't seen much concrete evidence one way or the other.
But we did hear a mentioning of the moon landing's fake. Again, it's not going to get a mention.
So if you missed parts 1 and 2, I'll link them at the end. But don't worry, you haven't missed too much.
Let me bring in the others. Maureen Callahan, what's your reaction to this? I mean, this is a story that is
Okay, so the woman, the blonde on the right, our right, is Maureen Keller. Okay, I didn't know that.
Because of the nature of Virginia Giuffre's tragic suicide,
Virginia Giuffre is the person who's taken her own life.
this is not going to go away, the speculation around all this. Do you believe Virginia Giuffre? I mean, her own testimony against other men was questioned. You know, Alan Dershowitz, the American lawyer, challenged her and got her to admit that she was mistaken in identifying him as one of the people that abused her, which seems not irrelevant to all this. But where do you sit with Virginia Giuffre in totality here?
Yeah, I believe her when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein. That was an incredibly rich, powerful, connected man who could have had her harmed. So the danger to her far outweighed, you know, the price of staying quiet. But to this new theory, Piers, that your guest is promulgating, and the moon landing was staged, and the Hunter Biden laptop is a fake. Come on. That photo had to be examined by newsrooms and lawyers up and down before it would ever be published. Secondly, to this amateur photo and video that's been taken, do we know if the house has ever been renovated? Do we know the exact height?
This is all the same.
Okay, so as she starts interrupting her, of course, we are fairly familiar with this sort of tactic that is being utilised by this particular woman who's full of lies. She describes the lady who's taken her own life as being estranged from her father, and then the father appears on the feed, which is hilarious. But check it out. As I say, it's Deception Detective. The video is called It's Worse Than Any Conspiracy. That's the name of the Deception Detective video as he's covering it, as opposed to the Piers Morgan video. I'm sure he's got a link to Piers Morgan's video. I'm not going to link back to Piers Morgan's video because I'm covering Deception Detective and want to promote him, as that's my main aim. But as I say, as my toothache gets to the point where I can't quite talk properly, I'm going to probably round out this live stream. So with that, I'm going to say both a massive thank you to the live members only. Whoops, wrong button. Massive thank you to you in the members only live stream, or if you're watching this after the fact, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, maybe joining as a live members only stream participant so you can take part in these live members only streams. Once again, thank you for smashing the super chat, subscribing and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.